Okay, we are live. All right. So, we have some fun stuff to kind of go through today. And I just got to get a couple. Wait, this is so crooked. Hold on a minute. Let's see. Is it crooked? I can't really tell. I might have my, there we go. Like how I can't figure out the phone? All right. Well, don't start. Okay.
You good?
Could you do? Okay. No, you can.
Okay. Let me do this, and I'll be right back.
Okay. Okay. Well, hello, Diane. Hey, for this other die here, did you find if there was a card sample for that flower? The flower you put on the edge of the table.
No, it's not.
Okay.
That one is from the
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, hi, Crystal. I'm glad to see you again, even though it's not very often. Yeah, I know, because now that you live over in, you're on East Coast time, right? So what's it, like 7:30 for you? So, yeah, I know it gets kind of late. So, today we are having, even though my director just sort of walked out, we're having, I don't know what if this, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. And it's a dry red wine from Italy. Okay. Figured that out. So he'll come pour that later. Okay. So we just got in some new, like a box of new goodies from SIZZIX, okay? So I kind of wanted to go back through this because I did show you guys this a little bit ago when I had my samples in. So this is the sandable cardstock. It's called the Reveals Sandable Cardstock from SIZZIX, and it's A4 size, which is not quite 8.5 by 11, but pretty close. And you guys might remember that we did just a quick kind of a thing like so, and then we did an embossing folder. Okay, so if you're already on the list, these are here, but we're going to play with this today in a little bit of a different way because we have the dies that were not in my box when the cardstock came, but they were supposed to be. But the dies just arrived, and they are pretty versatile and kind of cool, okay? So, we have, I think, other than the people on the list, because today we had a big class in here today, so it was like total chaos. If you tried to call, we tried to get to the phone all the times, but maybe not. So a number of people that were here for class also picked these up. So at the moment, I have 2 additional sandable cardstock packs in stock. And what's great about these is There are 10 different colors, and this is a really nice set of colors, actually. Very, very usable colors. And these are the ones that have that inner core. So 10 different colors, you get 4 sheets of each. That's 40 sheets of color core sandable cardstock for $19.99. Really, really good price. Okay. Well, hi, Charlotte. And so these were the colors, but we're going to kind of get into this here. And then, so we're going to feature that today. I'm going to show you guys a little bit about that. And then the gotcha tools came in. So I do have a number of you guys on the list for this, but, what is really fun about these is that, actually, let me take this one. I haven't taken it out of the package yet. You can see. So I'm going to talk about a little bit of the tips and tricks for these new dies because they are a little bit different in functionality, but you guys, pretty awesome. Okay, so these are the new. What are they calling these? I don't even know. Well, they're like nested framelits with embossing detail. Let's see. Okay, well, you're not really behind, Crystal, because nothing arrived until today anyways. So because I'm going to demo with this today, I'm just going to set this up so I kind of have a nice visual. And this magnet is really, really strong. I am pretty much loving this thing. So there's a number of... Oops. And I don't have to be this specific. This is just the, you know, I don't organize much, but when I do, you know, there we go. So, okay. So this gotcha tool is kind of cool because it'll hold this right here. So it's very, very easy for me to pick and choose. Well, hi, Judy. Long time no see. Pick and choose the dies and pieces that I want for today. So while we're going through this, though, I want to show you guys. These are the new dies that just came in. There's only 4 shapes at the moment, and these I'm going to kind of explain what's really cool about how they work, but they're only $24.99 for the sets, and some really, really cool stuff. So we have ovals, and each one has a different embossed design. So if it seems like I'm a little tired today, you guys, it's because I am. We had a really, really busy day. We had our second in-store class, and the classroom had a lot of stuff to get fixed up because we didn't get it done yesterday after the video. And so this girl's a little tired, but I'm really excited to show you guys this stuff. So this one is the hexagon, and it has like a stitched detail on it. And then the one I just put on there, this is what I kind of call the labels, but it's not really the name of it, but it's much more descriptive than dotted top note. But it has a fun pattern to it, okay? And then we have the rectangles, and each one has a different pattern. Now, the way that this line of stuff is going to be designed as it comes out is these are part of the essentials line. So you know when Tim Holtz does a new release with SIZZIX, right? It's available for a little while, but most of them are kind of a one and done, so you got to grab it if you want it. These ones have been added to the essentials line, so they will be available for a while. And then down the road, additional things will be coming out for them. That's all I know is additional things. So I'm not being cryptic. I don't know what they are. So let's kind of chit chat about how these work. And they all will work this way. They're just with different shapes. And, Judy, this might sound familiar, to you. However, these were all out on the table, so we are going to chit-chat about it. It'll be a review for you. Okay. So there's, let's see, actually from this, just so you guys can kind of, on this one, I'm going to do the labels one because that one's unpacked already. I have 1, 2, so there are 4 cutting dies, which are these ones. And what's really nice is SIZZIX technology, and this is a technology they developed. They have a cut what you see technology. So that means the blade is right on the inside of the opening for these framelits. And so when I go to put it down, it is going to cut right where I've put it, okay? That part is going to be important here shortly. Okay, so these are pretty darn amazing mix and match dies. We have cutting dies and we have embossing detail, basically plates, okay? So this one doesn't cut at all. So what you can do, and I'm going to do this for you guys so you can actually see like all the steps, but this one here with the embossed detail. So you can emboss this right into your paper and just have a little embossed frame show up. Or you can emboss this and then have it cut out like that. And what you would then have is an embossed mat. Okay, so you would have a nice label-y frame with a mat, you know, because it's solid in the middle with its kind of cool little embossed detail. And so that's an option. Or then you add in the matching die. Now you have an embossed frame, okay? And I did this one earlier with a couple people here in the store. And so this is just kind of a really quick peek at what this looks like. I actually wanted my embossing on the other side, but see that? You can actually get embossing or debossing, which is really cool, okay? So, but that was the rectangle one. So we've got that. Now, if I take away the big frame, okay, now what I have is embossed detail with a hole cut out of the middle, and I have an embossed frame for my shaker. So I do want to show you guys a little bit about how this kind of works, and then I want to try something different because I don't know if it's going to work, but I have my fingers crossed, okay? Hi, Susan. All right, so for this one, because we're going to be embossing with this, what we need is we need the emboss and transfer set from SIZZIX to go with our SIZZIX machine. If you have a different machine brand, then you'll need whatever, you know, they have for this kind of a thing. So we need this, and this is $14.99. A lot of you guys have this because it's been out for a long time, but if you don't, we have them in stock. So it's got, I have one here. Okay, it's got this like squishy mat, and it has a white plate. This is different than the cutting plates. You don't cut into this. It is just the companion to this one. Okay, so we need that. And in the past, you guys have always heard me, and I rattle on about this because I get the question all the time, but you guys have heard me lots of times, and we did it with like memory box. We did it with that embossing folder and the die, that kind of thing. I've always said die cut first and then emboss so you don't squish out the embossing, okay? It is a little bit different with this one. So with this one, we're going to actually emboss first for this technique because when we go to use it on this, if you have used this before, you'll know what I'm talking about. This thing kind of squishes into place. And so the embossing won't necessarily like move, but it'll be really hard to line the dies up on the embossing. No, line the embossing up on the die if we cut it first, okay? So I'm going to emboss first and then I'm going to die cut and it will be just fine. So for this one, let's see. I'm going to just grab some purple because I think the purple in the darker color will show up the best for you guys on camera. All right. So now this reveals cardstock has a textured side and a smooth side. Okay. So when you look at your base from SIZZIX, they actually have a picture of what we're going to be doing right here. So they have the base, the clear plastic plate. They have your paper, your squishy mat, and then the white plate. I actually do it the exact opposite. And that's partly because I like to see what I'm doing as opposed to cover everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my base down, and then I'm going to put my cutting plate down. Okay. Now, wait, no, that's what they did. That's not what I'm doing. I'm doing the white plate and the squishy mat. Now, what I want is I want the embossed detail on the smooth side of the cardstock. Okay. So that's the opposite of what I did here. And I realized that once we did it. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually just take a moment and we're going to look at this. So when I put this on the paper, it's going to push these little dots into the paper. Okay. That means the other side that I am not looking at is going to have the raised detail. So we are going to turn it over so that I'm not looking at the smooth side. And I'm going to then put this in. Okay. And then I'm going to put a top plate on, and I'm just going to stick this in my Big Shot. And I'm using the switch again today because, like I told you guys yesterday, I am pretty much loving it. Okay. And let's see how it did. So you can see I haven't taken it apart yet. So you can see that squishy mat really just kind of, it almost like squishes itself out the bottom. But when I take the embossing off, the embossing is totally fine. Okay. So it has pushed itself into the paper. When I turn it over, you can actually really see that detail. Pretty nice. Okay. Everybody good on that. Okay. Now I'm going to take this one and move it out of the way. This is not for cutting. Okay. Some dies have embossing detail built into them. And yes, you can use the blades towards that. Sometimes this ends up getting cut lines in it, but it is still usable. And I'm just looking for my old one if I have it here. And you can get replacements of just that mat. I don't have those in stock, but if need be, you can get it. I think I threw away my black one that had all the cuts in it. So, okay, so I'm setting this aside. All right, now I'm going to put a thin die adapter. Okay, I'm going to put this one on. I'm going to set this guy right here. We're going to cut out, I'm just going to cut out a frame, and then you guys can kind of see, and you can sort of imagine. But like if you had like, say, a scrapbook, or you wanted a card where you just wanted this embossed detail, you could actually just do this and then work from it, right? And you can do this into other cardstocks. It's just that when we sand this one, a different color will come through. But if you wanted this as just a base on your card, like, you know, sometimes those embossing folders come with frames. This will give you that. What I would suggest is that you cut it a little bit bigger than you need it. That way, if it's not perfectly straight on there, or if it moved just a little bit, you have the room to trim it to the size you want. Okay, so now, remember that cut what you see thing? So we are going to line this up perfect. Here, let me zoom in just a smidge so you guys can see a little bit better. Okay. So we're going to line this up. I have to move this. It's got a glare for me, so I was going to show you guys the lining up part, but no, it does not seem like it's going to be working that well for me at the moment. Okay, so I can run this through right now and I will have an embossed mat. Maybe that's what we want. Maybe we should try it. You guys, I think you guys can see it. You guys kind of know what I'm talking about. Okay, so next up, actually, let me move this one just a little. Okay, now I'm going to put this little guy in, and so this way we can cut ourselves a little purple frame. All right, so let me put that one right there and that one right there. Does that look even? Yeah, looks not perfectly even, which you guys I know probably don't care that much because it's the demo, but okay. So now we've got that. This is where I do want to tape it down, okay? Because just like when you're cutting out a stamped image, you want to tape it down so your die doesn't shift and then you have to just start all over. So I am going to take this and I'm going to stick it into the switch and let it run through again. Okay. All right. So now you guys can see this. I'm just trying to get it in the screen. Okay, so you can see that. And so now you guys, when I take this apart, I have a cool little frame, okay? So it really depends on what you need, whatever it is you're doing, what you need that for. Oh, I just lost my train of thought. So whether you want to cut out a frame, a mat, a shaker window, just an embossed panel, but there is more that you can do as well. So, but for the moment, I'm going to show you the next thing. Okay, I need some scratch paper for this though. Wow, this is definitely scratch. It's, I don't know, can you guys see that on the video? This has footprints all over it, so definitely a scratch paper. So SIZZIX also just released these sanding blocks, and it kind of just is to tie in. Now, sanding blocks, we've had these available, not available for a while. Is this the one that I used? I don't know if it is. I kind of might have got these two confused. Hold on, let me go see if it's the other one. One of these I've used, one I haven't, and I, quite frankly, don't know which one is which. So let's see. We'll know when I take it out, though. Okay. So these were available in different sizes previously. Yeah, this is my used one, you can see. But they've been a little hard to find. We've had other sanding tools, and sometimes you need this kind of sanding tool, sometimes you need another kind of sanding tool. It's just like, you know, the brushes, the pouncers, the foam blender tools, that kind of stuff. They're all fabulous for different things. So these ones are nice. You have a nice big flat surface here, and it has a really nice grain for sanding the cardstock. And you get two in a package. I feel like, I think I'll get you a price here in a minute. They're really reasonable though. So, but you might have something that also works, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I do not want to sand on this mat here, my Tim Holtz mat, because this is a non-stick slick surface, and I really want to do my best to not scratch it up and make it not good for, you know. So I'm just going to put this on a flat surface, and I'm going to lightly run this over. Okay? And you guys will see that pattern starting to emerge. Okay? It's pretty cool because of the colored core is why we're getting this cool purple on purple effect, okay? Glue on my finger. Okay. And you guys, that's like all there is to the technique. Nothing complicated. Really kind of a neat addition to, you know, some of the different projects. Now, it may work with some projects. It may not work with other projects. But again, you also don't have to sand it, right? You also could cut this frame without the embossed detail and have a very, very cool frame. Okay. So that's kind of the basics of how this all is designed to work. Now, what I want to do is, let me pop these guys back out. Okay. And okay. All right, guys. This next part, I don't have any idea if this is going to work or not, but based on my knowledge of the embossing and the way that this has worked for other things, I think it's going to work. So now, let me grab, I just need some scissors. Okay, so, and then for those of you guys that joined us yesterday, we did that really cool little book project. And we talked about like putting adhesive on the cardstock and stuff like that. So, I put in an order to have the dies shipped. And it turns out the die that I used yesterday was discontinued, and I have like, they shipped what they had, which was 2. So if you were thinking about that die, I apologize. However, I had her look at what was available and send me a couple other dies that I think could be very, very cool also. So we will get back to that part of it. But I just kind of wanted to let you guys know since I was sort of referencing yesterday. Okay. And then, so what I have here, this is just a 6x6 piece of metallic cardstock. Hi! You can tell, guess what shirt I'm wearing today? So what I'm going to do is the exact same thing that I did yesterday with putting adhesive on the chipboard, but I'm going to do it on the back of the foil cardstock, okay? Now, I am not 100% sure that you need to do this, but I love the Elizabeth Crafts adhesive on the back of my foil cardstocks because for a number of reasons, well, let's fingers crossed, Crystal. Let's see. Because if it does work, I'm pretty excited. So, so you guys have heard me talk about that numerous times. And one of the things that I like about that is it's almost like a self-embossing situation, okay? Because when I use the foil cardstocks with those little tiny, you know, those sentiment dies that have all those details, that extra bit of cardstock, or I mean the extra bit of adhesive, has this little bit of puff and it pushes the foil deeper into the die. So we're going to do something a little different today though, okay? Today, I just want to cut off, hang on, let me grab my trimmer. I have a little bit of an overhang on the adhesive, and while I didn't worry about it yesterday because of that kind of die, I don't want it on here today because I am going to use this with my plastic plates, and I don't necessarily want that because it will transfer to my plates and create sticky stuff. And it's not any big deal, but other than I don't want to have something else to clean. Okay. So we've got our foil with the Elizabeth Crafts adhesive on the back side. Now, if you get fingerprints on your foil, a lot of times you can just take your t-shirt and do that. Okay. I think for this one though, I want to try a different shape. I want to try this guy and see what comes up. Okay. Part of the reason is because I haven't tried this technique yet, and I think that this detail is going to work really, really well for what I want to do. All right, so I think I'm going to grab this one and this one and this one. Okay. All right, friends, let's get our sandwich set up here. Okay, so I am going to remove the thin die adapter. I'm going to grab my squishy mat and that white plate per our pictures here, but I'm going to reverse it just because that's what I like to do. But it doesn't make a big difference. Okay, I'm going to put this on here with the adhesive down. Okay, so here's the thing. When I was doing it with the Reveals cardstock, for that technique, I wanted the design to come up. For what I'm going to try today, I want the design to go down. So I'm going to turn this over. Ooh, I seem to have a big piece here, don't I? And for foil cardstock, I don't know how much this is really going to move. I'm hoping not at all on the cardstock, but since I haven't tried this, we'll all find out together. But for the foil cardstock, I'm not going to tape it down. And part of the reason for that is that extra pressure with the squishy mat can also get a small emboss of the edge of the tape, because that has a texture also. And I just don't want that for this. So cross your fingers. We're going to hope that this works. So funny. Now, if you okay, so it's good on the foil. This thing is so. I've always used this mat with my regular crank Big Shot, and it's always moved, but it's never quite moved like this much. This is a lot. It makes zero difference because my stuff is still getting embossed as it needs to, but it's because I'm using the switch, and the switch has like phenomenal pressure. Okay, so now I'm going to take this off, and other than this little wrinkle, which I really don't care about, we have a very, very cool design. Now, because I have that adhesive on the back side, remember, this is thicker and has farther for basically the thing to squish into it. So I'm going to get a really cool, defined look. Okay? Now, what do I want to do? What is it that I want to do? Okay. So now what I want to do is take this, and I'm going to put this guy right here, and I'm going to grab my bigger frame. Okay. This is where I'm going to tape it, but I'm only going to tape it outward. Okay. With the foil, I have to pull this closer. Sorry, guys. Because, all right. It's got a lot of shine. So I'm going to tape the foil so that it is on the die, tape the die so that the tape is on the die and going outward only. Okay? So That's what I'm going to do. And what this is going to do is going to end up giving us a mat. Like I was going to do for you earlier, but I had no idea I was going to do for you on this one because it's a play by ear. Okay, so let me run that through and fingers crossed that all goes well, which I'm kind of thinking it will. Because why wouldn't it? Okay, so we've got the reveal and voila. Oh, that is... Okay, you guys, look at this. I mean, I just, like, I feel like I want... So funny. So funny when you guys can see me. It is so pretty, right? Okay. Let's go with the next step. And then I want to show you also, because this is like one of the coolest things about the gotcha. So remember I had that nested set on here to show you? I can just throw layers of dies. The magnets are really strong. And that way I know which ones I'm working with and I'm not going to lose them. All right. I kind of wanted to cut this into a frame, but first off, I want to see if this is even going to work. Okay. So I'm going to grab my paper towel here. That's just kind of to protect my surface a little bit. And then I'm going to take this one. And remember the other day we were talking about how the distress paints don't come with the dauber tops anymore, but I find it to be like a critical addition to my black soot, especially. But the technique that I'm going to try is... something you can do with any acrylic paints, okay? We were talking about it with stencils the other day, and so this one is one that you can do with foils. So I'm just going to make sure that my paint is kind of flowing, okay? Really, that's not going to protect much on my workspace. But, so I'm going to just come along and kind of daub this so that it gets into those little crevices, okay? And yes, my friends, this part is a little bit messy, but you know, that's part of art, right? Okay, so now for this to work, I have to kind of, it's not like timing it right, like cooking the perfect egg, okay? But what I need to do is I need to let this set kind of for a little bit. And all I can say is a little bit, because I'll show you. If we go right in, like with the stencils, we didn't have to wait, right? It just stayed kind of in that laser part. But if I go right in now, it may work. Oh, well, look, that might have been long enough. I might have talked. Oh, I think this is going to work, you guys. Oh. All right, I'm going to scrub it all off. Okay. I'm not done. Don't worry. No panicking. Let's see. Did it? Yeah. Okay. This is actually pretty darn cool. And so I don't want the paint to fully dry on here, but the paint on the foil should come off relatively easy on the smooth parts. And then I might have to go back in and check some of this, but I do have some spots where this is really good. And I do think I need, yeah. So this is where if I had let it sit a little bit longer, this would be better. But I do want you guys to get to see what's going on, okay? And I don't know how much is going to show up, but what I now have is black stitching in the foil. Crystal, I know. Why do I ever? It's because it's like I want to give the caveat just in case I flub something up. That is like, oh, well, that didn't work. But, you know, sometimes failures are always, they're good learning tools also, right? Okay, so I'm going to give this another round. Now, here's the other thing to remember about acrylic paint is that it's, well, not another thing. This is the thing to remember, it's permanent when it dries. So if I wanted to do a second layer like I'm doing, it might have been an even better idea to make sure the paint that was in there was dry so that this doesn't, you know, if I go to wipe it off, it doesn't come off again. But I didn't do that. But then again, it might have been dry because there was hardly any in there. So what I do with these paper towels is I just kind of use it until I don't have anywhere left that I can clean. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of get off a good portion of it. All right. And I am going to polish this, but I just want to see what kind of a paint situation I'm looking at in my stitches. And I think it is really, really cool. So, for the polishing, I'm going to grab a new one. And I will try to go kind of like flat so I don't take any paint out. Oh yeah, this is going to be much better. But you guys, imagine this on like a light colored foil with a black stitching or a black embossed design of any of those other ones. Okay, so oops, I forgot that little corner. So I don't know how well this, oh, it is showing up for you guys pretty good. So this is a really fun technique to accentuate those embossed designs. And so I started with the stitching one, which you actually can't see as well as if I had done another one, but partly because I wasn't 100% sure how well this would work, and that one looked like it had the deepest crevices for the paint to sit in. Okay, so I'm going to let this dry for a minute because then we're going to die cut it into a frame. And then we will have a very, very cool silver frame. So now the other thing that I also wanted to show you guys is I'll do this on the inner piece of this one. But you can also like sand it. So if we get to this effect and I wanted it to be a little bit distressed, I can do that too. Okay. So, and actually I have a little bit of this stuff left over, so let me grab, and I'll just run this through and we'll just do that while we're waiting for the paint to dry. And I'm just waiting for the paint to dry right now because I'm going to run it through with that inside nesting dye, and I just don't want the paint to get somewhere where I have to clean it because it's not my jam. Okay. All right, I'm just going to do a little one, and I'm going to stick that guy right there, run it through. Also, when working with foils, this is a really good time to have a top plate that doesn't have any cut lines in it, because when you're working with foils and this squishy mat, it can emboss those. Like if I use the one that had a whole bunch of cut lines, it can emboss that right into the foil. So really moved it on this one. No biggie though. Okay. All right. Oh, remember when I was telling you about taping and then the embossing? Let's see. There we go. So this was tape left over from the last one. Remember that I did? And that's why I don't tape it when I run it through the embosser unless I know. But for this one, that tape would come out, and that's where the die is going to be. So I don't want that still to be in my frame. Okay. So, well, hi, Lori. Yeah, so for Wine Fridays, you guys, I think we're looking at, we've been going at 4 o'clock, but I think for Wine Fridays, we're going to kind of look a little bit more to go at 4:30 because it gives us some time to get a little bit more together for the video. Because the other days are a lot of like, what did we unpack from the box and stuff like that. But this one, we wanted to be able to have enough time to present stuff to you. So I'm just going to make this little one real quick and I would imagine that the paint is dry now. But I want to do this one because I want to see how this is going to look sanded. I don't know. I'm going to be honest again. I just don't know. But so I'm being careful to avoid. That is not. Huh. Oh wait, yeah, no. Oh, that's my emboss detail. Hello. I think it must be this one then. I'm like, wait a minute. Is that it? There we go. Okay, that looks like we're in the ballpark a little bit closer. Oh, Brooke. Okay. So, like, wait, that doesn't fit. This one, and so I'm not going to use this centerpiece for anything today. And it's not very big, so I'm going to just put my tape there to hold it in place. Now let me run this through real quick. Oh, and you know, because I'm using the switch, I am so used to having to line this up so that things don't hang off. But because I'm using the switch, I actually don't have to worry about that, which is a little bit nice, right? Because it isn't going to damage it on the side like it would with my 6-inch machine. And this is merely 100% experiment. Wasn't even on my original plan, but you guys know how fun it is to sit and play sometimes, okay? So I've got this cut out perfect. And so I've got that one, and then I've got this one here. So, and actually taping that on the inside, it did not get that much denting, but okay. All right. Oh my gosh. Look at that though, you guys. Part of this is a really interesting frame look because it cuts on the inside. So we actually have this, this kind of inside ledge, so to speak, that had to be sized so it didn't squish out the embossing detail. But what it did is actually make this frame like almost like multi-dimensional. So, and we got a much deeper emboss because we have that adhesive on the backside. So, if I didn't want that deep of an emboss right at that point, that part, then I wouldn't want to use a foil with the adhesive. You might still get some though. Okay, so I'm going to take this, and I don't know how this is going to work. Oh, actually, never mind. I'll have to bring this up to show you guys. But because sometimes the foil are you know, beautiful and shiny, but sometimes we need them to be a little bit less shiny. Can you guys see this? This is gorgeous. Okay. So we have the foil, but we also have it a little bit distressed because I just did the sanding. Okay. So this being said, let's take this one step further. I have an idea what is going to happen at this next stage, but let's try a quick paint on it just so you guys can kind of see. This is the sanded first, paint second. Okay, so we have lots of options. We can leave it as that bright silver beautiful frame we had first, or we can sand it and we can leave it like this kind of cool distressed one, or, but wait, there's more, or we can come in with this black paint like we did on the other one. Just remember that now that we have it as a frame, we don't have anywhere to hold, okay? So you don't actually have to do all of the parts at the same time. But for the sake of the video, I'm not going to wait as long as I would normally wait on that one because I know that it's going to wipe right off. This one is going to have a different effect, I think. Maybe, maybe not though. I don't know. I thought it might, but now that I'm looking at it, it might not have the effect I thought it was going to have. Okay. So that's actually kind of interesting. Had a little bit of it. So I don't know what you guys can see, but where I scuffed up the foil around the edges, it grabbed a little bit more paint. But I think what I'm going to do, now that I know how that's reacting, this is the very best thing when you guys have questions about things. Because I get questions from people all the time like, how about this? What will happen about this? What about this? What about that? And what is one of my favorite responses of all times? It's just paper. Give it a try. And today, since I seem to have gotten sidetracked from what I was doing, it is just paper, and we're going to give it a try. Okay? So this half, I'm going to actually give it a pretty good sand, because I kind of want to know at what point is it going to start grabbing that paint. Now, this is a hunky-dory foil cardstock, okay? And different cardstocks will have different, I guess layers of silver depth to sand off. I don't know that that's the right answer, but hopefully that makes sense when I say something like that. Okay, so I'm going to just put a little bit of stuff back over there. And I kind of just did halvesies on this with the sanding so that we would have a little bit to test from. And, okay. Again, not waiting. Probably should, but I'm not going to. There we go. Oh, okay. This is a little bit more along the lines of what I was expecting with the first one. Kind of cool, you guys. Kind of cool. Okay. I'll hold this up here in a second. Okay. All right. So I'm not sure how much of this you guys will see on the camera, but what's happening is basically where I sanded it down more, we're now getting almost like a brown tarnish look. Let me stand to see if I can get this right for you guys. There we go. So can you guys kind of see that? And what's really neat about that is it's actually not turning black because it isn't all the way down, but it is giving us this effect of old metal. So the paint with the sanding is turning out freaking awesome. Okay. And the sanding was not part of my original plan, but I have to say, I am liking it. So, I am now going to cut this one into a frame. And, wait, where's my frame? Oh, but that's not the one. Oh, it was this one I think I had. Okay. And I'm going to do that same taping thing that I did before. And I'm just going to run this through to cut. Do 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 do. Okay. You guys, I'm actually really excited about this. I think I might like the sanding part even better. I don't know. This is why it's really important to sit down and sometimes just play with your stuff, because you don't really always know what you're going to get, and sometimes the order with which you do things makes a big difference. So we have this frame with no sanding, but the black stitches. Okay, really cool. And then we have this frame, which I cut out as a frame and then sanded all the way down. So I kind of wanted to just sort of get into that because the sandable cardstock is pretty awesome. right? I mean, this is really fun. But you may want to do different things with these dies, and the looks that you can achieve from just these two different things is pretty awesome. So, but if I wanted to add, say, a little bit of ink to my frame here, there's lots of tools. I have no idea if this one even has any ink in it. I guess I should. Oh, nope, it doesn't. Huh. I was trying to just grab one that had some purple ink in it, but that's maybe this one. Okay, seriously? Nothing? All right, I gotta grab some purple. Let's just try. Let's give it a good purple. Okay, so you can add a little bit of ink. I have not yet tried this, but we're going to. You can add a little bit of ink, maybe, and get some different effects. So let's see what we can get. This is Villainous Potion, which is a pretty vibrant purple. So I'm using my flat blending tool, and because I just want to see before it gets too much, I want to see what kind of an effect. Okay. So I will say maybe this was a little too tone on tone, but actually, can you guys see it is showing up? But I might need a slightly darker ink. But what's interesting is where it was sanded, it is taking that ink just a little bit more. So you know what I'm going to do? Hold on. I got an idea. Okay, let's try adding in a little bit of a darker color. So let me put this purple on so that we have some comparison, because I love, love, love when we have comparisons. Okay, and I'm going to put the purple on just a little bit darker so that we can see what we are really looking at. Okay, and actually this does look pretty actually pretty awesome for like a tone on tone sort of effect. So now I'm gonna do a quick switcheroo to Uncharted Mariner, which I know is also quite a dark blue. And part of the reason, you know, we've kind of talked about this a number of times, but part of the reason that I don't have an answer for what's the best blending tool is because the different ones have different times when they are better or worse. So like the pouncers wouldn't necessarily work for what I'm trying to do with this one, because what I'm doing is kind of a kiss ink on the top, and it's hitting those raised edges a little bit more than other places. And so pouncers kind of just push the ink right onto the whole thing, so they may or may not give me an effect that I like. They might. Brushes also have all the bristles, so they're not going to hit the high points. But like on this one where I want to hit the high points, that's where these blender tools with the flat foam are really, those are really the champions of that kind of a thing. Okay. Hey! Dad. Hello. So we have a camera set up now, and it's funny because whoever's watching the camera, it's online kind of a thing, like it's on my phone and Dad's phone, but you can actually talk through the camera. So he was just making a quick cameo to say hi. Okay. So this is just like a quick little thing to see how these colors react. And I kind of like that. That's really pretty with the blue on the purple. And then that one is purple on purple. So just something else that you can kind of play with to do with these. Now, I was going to do, we just got in, you guys, finally, we have been able to get in the Graceful Anemone die. I don't know why this one was so hard to get in, but it is here now. And I was gonna do a quick flower version of this with you and kind of pair it with one of these frames and kind of put a card together. But I actually think, you know, cutting this out and inking it and stuff, you guys have a pretty good idea of how to do that. We'll continue to do that on other ones. But I did want to spend some time playing with this because the way the dies are set up is different. The way that you might use that reveals cardstock could be different. And then I wanted to kind of revisit that black paint foil cardstock effect and see how it would look in this one. And I will tell you, I'm going to wrap up the video because we're sitting at about an hour, and I think that's enough for you guys because we covered a lot of stuff today. But I might actually try with the other one that I have open and see how this black paint works. But you can see I have a clean frame and I have a kind of more of a grungy frame. So there's a lot you guys can do with this. Okay, so that being said, I want to recap some of the stuff that I think was important from today that you may want to be aware of and pick up, okay? Because I don't have any water here. Okay. All right, so I only have 2 packs of this Unspoken For in the store at the moment, but I will get more ordered because this stuff is freaking awesome. And a really, really good value because you get 40 sheets of this Reveals Sandable cardstock for $19.99. That is a great price. And then you get 4 of each sheet. So you get 10 different colors in there, and there's a lot of really good colors, okay? So, and you can kind of see that, like, even if that purple one was too purple, right? Oops, something stuck. Oh, it's because I have the have a paper clip. I just want you guys to be able to see all the colors because I'm really excited about this paper because it just kind of opens things up for another avenue. This is a duplicate, just so you know. Those are your colors. But when we took the the purple, which was pretty purple, right? And then we added those inks and things. It does change it. It tints it just a little bit. And so it doesn't look like it's quite as, purple. So these are some really cool colors. This one is awesome because this is not a color we see very often. Okay, so those are here. I have a couple if you didn't pre-order it, and we will have more coming. Really good value. The other thing that there's a few other things that I want to make sure that we get covered. So these framelits are brand new to the market, and they are $24.99, which is it's not even in the window. It's because I have all this ink right here, and I keep thinking I'm going to get it on stuff. So let me just do like that. Okay. So they're brand new to the market, and I think these are they're really going to become staples because they're just so usable. So we've got 4 designs to choose from now, and we have, I think, only a handful of each design in stock at the moment, but I will be getting more in stock. So, pick which ones you want. You can get others later, up to you, or all 4 because I think I'm going to use all 4 because they're really good shapes. So this one is the one I'm calling Hexagon. It has a different name, Belinda. But so Hexagon, that's the one we used on the foil, and that's $24.99. And then we have, what is this one? Deco Rectangles. Again, like so usable and really going to be usable for scrapbookers too. This one especially, right? And then we have this one, which I used in the beginning, This one is called, well, I don't know what it's called, Doris, but it's also, I call it Labels. Belinda, B-E-L. Yeah, but just call it hexagons. If you guys want to order it, just go by the shape, because I promise it's so much easier. So hexagons, rectangles, labels, and then the one I haven't pulled out of the package yet is the ovals. Okay, so very, very cool stuff. And then the other thing to be aware of, oh, did you get me a price on these? Okay, he's coming back. We have the sanding blocks. I did order those. I didn't have a sample of those when we were doing the cardstock. It's right here. To show you guys. But then I got a set of them in my virtual trade show, and I was like, oh, those are pretty cool. So I did order these. They're here. And he's going to get me some info on that. And then there is the gotcha tool. For those of you guys that ordered this, we will have it on your account. We'll have it ready for you. And for those of you guys that didn't order it, fabulous tool, because you saw I could set it right here on my table, and I can kind of keep my dies a little bit more organized than Total Chaos. But also, if I have a bunch of chaos, one of the things that I can do is I can take this over my work surface, and it will, that one fell off. And it will pick up the dies, so that if I lose stuff, I can kind of almost like vacuum it up, okay? So I can pick up the dies. And if you're going to do a vacuum through some other stuff, maybe take off a few of those layers, but look at how much I have stacked on here. Holy cow, right? And I still set it, and they're all still just staying there. So especially when you're doing little pieces, that thing is going to be a total savior. $19.99, very strong magnets. And we did get a number of extras in because I have heard that these are so popular and they were short on stock. So I wanted to make sure we had enough, at least for a little while. Okay. And then the sanding blocks are $7.99. And you get 2 of them in there. I think I covered everything, right? The only other thing, because we haven't had it before, is this die, this stunning die, and it's going to be a big size one. The Graceful Anemone. I have a couple people on the list for this one. This one is $19.99. So I haven't cut the sample, but if you have had your eye on that and haven't been able to pick it up yet, it's because it wasn't in, but we've got them now. Okay? Okay. So my friends, that's it for me today. Have a great weekend. We will see a bunch of you guys tomorrow, or talk to you on the phone or whatever, or we'll see you all soon. Okay. Have a good one. Bye.